you for that very warm greeting. I'm delighted to be asked to address this distinguished audience of scientists and scholars. And what I want to do this evening is to explore some of the positive prospects for the educational uses of digital technology. Prospects that I think look very bright indeed. Now you may be wondering why a longtime technology critic would suddenly change his tune and go over to the other side, joining those he's opposed for so many years. And it's true that in the past, I have scorned the ways that television, computers, and other electronic media have been used in our schools and colleges. But today, my friends, who can fail to notice that the tides are shifting? A great many of my friends and colleagues are completely enthralled by personal computers, the internet, and proposals for virtual education. And the more I listened to them, the more it seemed to me that what they were saying made good sense. And indeed, the world of education is moving in new directions, away from the worn-out approaches and standards of the past, toward more vivid, more vital ways of presenting knowledge to young minds. Now, the path that I've chosen is the only one that truly makes sense in this new age. Entrepreneurship, starting a business firm, and getting products out there into the hands of today's eager education consumers. And in that light, I want to introduce myself as my alter ego, Mr. L.C. Winner, Chief Executive Officer of the Educational Smart Hardware Alma Mater Corporation. L.C. Winner. Thank you, Langdon, and it's good to see you finally join the winning team. Friends and colleagues, next month our firm will be listed on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange under our acronym, which is pronounced EduSHAM, by the way. Come along with me now on a brief tour of the ideas and products that we at EduSHAM find so appealing. Let's begin by looking at the forces, the underlying forces that will drive education in the decades to come. First, commodification. Anything that was not previously a conveniently packaged, marketable product will now have to become one. Globalization. All products and services must be instantaneously available at a competitive price everywhere on the planet. Privatization. All resources that were previously held by public institutions must now devolve into private hands. And finally, most importantly, digital transformation. All entities that previously existed in analog format must now be reconfigured into digital format. Well, in a great many places in our society, we see the effects of these forces at work. Take, for example, the bank teller. During the past 20 years, thousands of branch banks have closed to make way for the ATM, the automated teller machine, while thousands of human bank tellers have been laid off. Now, we highly educated professionals like to think that these forces will affect only the lower-level personnel. But as waves of downsizing and outsourcing in the 1990s made perfectly clear, this is not true. Even those at the highest levels of educational attainment and professional ability are being affected by the forces that I have mentioned. And that's where the Educational Smart Hardware Alma Mater Corporation has decided to make its mark. You see, in today's dynamic global economy, the education industry exists as an enormous $600 billion a year dinosaur, and one stuck with a great deal of cumbersome, costly, outmoded baggage. And the list here includes rigid material infrastructure, classes, campuses, all kinds of buildings, outmoded, inflexible practices and structures inherited from a bygone era of masters and apprentices, high cost but low productivity personnel, teachers, administrators, librarians, professors, and the like, with their salaries and their benefits and their pensions and their cushy lifestyles. And as you know, the system is also burdened by the requirement that so much of the business has to be done by those hard-to-schedule, time-consuming, often annoying face-to-face meetings that everyone objects to so much these days. So, my friends, the basic problem here is inflexibility. And in response to these problems, we at EduSham are preparing an innovative product line predicated on a few core educational principles. First, of course, is the idea of education itself. What is education? How often over the years I have puzzled over that question. Well, we at EduSham believe that the concept can be defined quite succinctly. Education is the transfer of knowledge from point A to point B through the most efficient, low-cost link possible. And indeed, in today's world, what other definition of education makes sense at all? I, for one, certainly can't think of any. Now, the best way to do this, of course, to achieve this transfer, would be a direct link between the computers at EduSham and the brain of each student, perhaps a fiber optic cable. And consumers could then download products directly on demand, taking the knowledge they need exactly when they need it. Alas, the technology for doing this does not yet exist. Although my research staff, seated over here, tells me that we'll soon have the technology, perhaps within a decade or so. But for the time being, we at EduSham are working on an innovative product line, but of a more conventional sort. Products that are low cost, which is to say that consumers will simply not accept high-priced educational goods when they can get the equivalent at a lower cost. Flexible, that is to say, all education must change quickly to meet the needs of the moment. User-friendly. People who buy our packages must find their interfaces familiar, responsive, and inviting. Just in time. Exactly the right amount of education is delivered at exactly the right moment. Well, enough of basic educational philosophy. Let's move on now to look at our first significant product, the one that we call our APM, the Automatic Professor Machine. Beginning this spring, thousands of these attractive consoles will appear in schools, colleges, fast food restaurants, shopping malls, prisons, and other places where people gather these days. Available 24 hours a day and linked to EduSham computers by high-speed communications, the APM will offer a complete line of educational products from preschool to post-doc. Lectures, quizzes, midterms, problem sets, and other materials can all be downloaded onto disks that students insert into the slot right there at the bottom of the screen. And later students can upload the materials they've finished, exams, papers, quizzes, requests for extensions, and incompletes into that same little slot. Most important, the APM connects all of our students to EduSham's central institution, the global university. This is the institution which dispenses knowledge and evaluates each student's progress. Now, unlike conventional colleges and universities, the global university has no campus, no faculty, no actual physical location. Indeed, it's composed of bits and pieces of software strung around the planet and linked through satellite communications. And unlike conventional, physically encumbered educational institutions, the global university will be totally responsive to student demand. It will feature displays in familiar flat screen format. It will have study paced to busy career schedules. It will have personalized interactive instruction in which students are in direct contact with a computer that knows their name and which has access to all of the information that has ever been collected on them. This is personalization, my friends, at its very best. Now, the APM offers a variety of courses linked, as I've said, to rapidly changing career objectives. Let's say, for example, you are a job seeker and you need competence in Microsoft Excel. Well, why spend $30,000 a year for 4 years, a time of a normal college education, when all you need is Excel? Well, at EduSham, we will offer thousands of these downloadable, just-in-time courses that a students can complete in anything from a few weeks to a few minutes. And upon successful completion of the course, the APM will issue a digitized certificate, a kind of mini diploma certifying that the student had passed. We call this the Partner's Degree Quickly, or PDQ. And the wonderful thing is, after you've collected 32 of the PDQs, the APM would automatically issue a bachelor's degree, an event that we like to call commencement. But of course, one's education need not stop there. A student could go on to collect more bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, a PhD, or a whole bunch of them. The average cost per course in this method is a mere $300 per course. So the equivalent of a complete college education would be only about $10,000, less than 1/8 the cost that students spend on education these days. Well, I'm sure you can see that the APM has a tremendous competitive advantage when compared to conventional ways of getting an education in today's physically encumbered schools and universities. But I'm sure you're wondering, what about the quality of an education delivered through the APM? Well, first of all, let me assure you that we at EduSham have an unswerving commitment to quality. Our research facility, shown here, the Center for Distant Educators, recently released a report that highlights the following points. First of all, the APM will use only state-of-the-art electronics, only the very best. Our lectures and seminars will be given only by the top 10 stars in any given scholarly field. After all, why mess around with the small fry? There will be a 90-day limited warranty on all knowledge delivered. If you find something is defective, all you have to do is return it and we'll give you your money back or a parcel of knowledge. And through state-of-the-art computerized voice communication, students will be in direct contact with skilled, knowledgeable virtual teachers able to listen to what they're saying and to respond appropriately. Well, what about the results to be achieved by using the APM and the global university? This is quite important, and we at EduSham are aware of a finding in the research over many years, research on educational technology, namely the finding of no significant difference